Anjali's put me on a spot today.
So we are going live in one.
Everyone silence.
Yes. Anjali, we can start.
Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. And I'm Anjali, your moderator for today, also heading the sales and marketing division for MyLegalsoftware. MyLegalsoftware is a legal case management software that is created for the lawyers by the lawyers. Today is Thursday, October 13th, and we are here with another session for our webinar. And topic for today's discussion is ABCs of filing an H1B. This series offers the perfect opportunity to improve your understanding of the fundamentals of employment-based immigration, gain familiarity with its basic features and procedures, as well as to learn insights from experienced and highly esteemed practitioners of employment-based immigration law with proven track records. Today, as a guest speaker, we have with us Mr. Naresh Gehi, who is a highly experienced immigration and corporate attorney in New York, who specializes in assisting clients in extremely complex immigration matters. His firm, Gehi and Associates, has 80 members working internationally and is growing at a fast pace. Attorney Gehi serves as a personal advisor to the President of Suriname, where he advises the President in connections with reforming the laws of the country, Suriname. I am proud to announce that Mr. Gehi is also the founder of Mylegalsoftware, where he serves as our mentor and trainer. We have another guest speaker today, Mr. Sonu Lal, who will be joining us in some time. He's running late due to a traffic issue. And other than that, it's my request to all the attendees that in case if you have any questions for us, you can always let us know in the comment section below. And you can alternatively, you can also email us your any questions related to your legal matters at legalhelp@mylegalsoftware.com. Any advice that is shared during the webinar does not account to the legal advice, and information given in the session are very general in nature. So welcome to the show for today, sir. And I'd like you to briefly introduce yourself, although we all know so much about you. But I think for all the new people who have joined us, I think we all need a brief introduction of yourself.
Thank you so much. It's wonderful being on the show. And I believe Sonu's stuck in traffic. But anyway, it doesn't matter. But as usual, I'm fully prepared, as always. So critically important today is that we're going to have a great discussion. But prior to that discussion, yesterday, as you all, a lot of you know that, I'm involved with AILA, and I am on the Federal Committee of the American Immigration Lawyers Association with the New York chapter. I spoke at an AILA event yesterday, and we were talking to lawyers actually, and the panel was fantastic. I had Paul O'Dwyer, then we had Michelle Gay from California, then I was on the panel, and the CLE was meant for lawyers to learn how to practice, before the federal court. Practicing before the federal court is not easy. It comes with a lot of experience, and you have to know a lot of different laws. But I must say that the entire team of AILA, I need to personally thank Paul O'Dwyer. I need to thank Michelle Gay. I need to thank David, who did a phenomenal job in organizing this, and the other members of the team, who really worked very hard, including Michelle and Scott, who did a fantastic job in putting the event together. And it was just a great event, and it went on for 3 hours yesterday. And what I really like is training people. I love to train lawyers. I want to train paralegals so that they can be really good at what they do. And speaking at a federal committee is not a joke. It's very difficult. And all of us did a phenomenal job. And I think this was kind of a great event that happened yesterday. And all the lawyers enjoyed it very much. That's the news I got from the AILA members. So being in AILA, working with them is a joy. Being on the federal committee is a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing because you're kind of, at that level wherein you exactly want to kind of, be. But it's a lot of sacrifice to be a good lawyer. And, I want great lawyers coming up in America. If you're watching the show, I'll be very happy to see you guys in federal court one day. I've been in federal court very often. It's time for each one of you to get to federal court. And of course, if someone wants to learn federal law, we're always here to teach you, but also learn immigration litigation, which is one of the fastest growing areas. And that's what exactly we bring to the table. So let's get started today without wasting a lot of time. H1Bs, A, B, Cs of an H1B visa. What do you have to know about an H1B visa? So now you're working with the law firm as a paralegal, or your boss is very dynamic. He's a good lawyer, and he says, hey, Jane, why don't we start an immigration practice? Or why don't we take up our first H1B case? So the first kind of reaction is that, how are we going to do it? And the second kind of reaction is, even if we look at all these seminars and webinars, are we still going to get this approved? Or are we going to commit a mistake? Is the case going to be denied? Those are common fears which are faced by people. So the very first thing is that you need to have the right tools of the trade. The number one thing which I would recommend is first start reading about what is the H1B visa. I've written books on immigration, as you know. You can even get a copy of Immigration for Everyone. That is meant for people who just want to know about the process. It's available on Amazon. We can go to Amazon and grab a copy of it. You'll at least understand the basics. So basics means what I did in that book. I just spoke about the ABCDs, like what everyone needs to know about the basics. So get a grasp of the basics of the H1B visa first. And you'll understand what an H1B visa means, who can file an H1B visa, what are the requirements for the employer. So now your boss is sitting with your client in the office. You get a call from a corporation. So now you know that, oh my God, I am in California, I'm in New York, I'm getting all this H1B business. I really don't know where to start from. So first thing you do is you start looking at the INA, which is the Immigration and Nationality Act. And in that, you need to understand the definition of the word, who can file an H1B. The minimum requirements for an H1B visa to sponsor a foreign national is that the job offer should qualify as a specialty occupation. So once paralegal was working in the firm, asked me, Mr. Gehi, what is a specialty occupation? It's a very interesting question. So Anjali, she asked me, like, exactly what is a specialty occupation? So here's Sonu. It's great to have Sonu in. So I started talking to her about a specialty occupation is an occupation that requires the minimum attainment of a bachelor's degree from the United States. So which means even if you have a foreign degree, you have to make sure that the degree of that person is equivalent to a foreign degree, which means like I got a degree from India, but the Indian degree is 3 years. An American degree is 4 years. If you apply for the H1B, your H1B will be denied. Why? Because it does not match the 4-year degree requirement. But there are some laws in America wherein even if you have a 3-year degree, take an example, you went to college in the UK and they give you a 3-year degree. Does this mean that you don't qualify for the H1B? The answer is no. You are lucky. Why? Write this down, folks. So today is a workshop. I'm expecting a lot of questions. So it's going to be a step-by-step process wherein we learn from each other and we proceed. Now, the first question is, if the person has a 3-year degree, 3 years of work experience equals to 1 year of education. So your client is an architect. He got a 3-year degree from the UK. But you are smart. What did you tell a client? I want to see your resume. You check the resume. This person has worked as an architect for 18 years. So, oh my God, 3 years is equal to 1 year. Easily qualifies. He doesn't have to go to school. Write that down. So how do you know? Sometimes people ask me this question. I am not an expert. I don't even know whether this person has 12 plus 3 or a 12 plus 4. If your client is from a foreign country, the first thing you need is a proper credential evaluation. And there are many credential evaluation companies, and they will do a proper credential evaluation for you. Look at the evaluation. And the good news is you're getting the hang of things right there, which means that you will be able to see, oh, he has a 3-year degree. Fantastic. Now I need the 3 years. So you're already in the game. And that evaluator is going to say, based upon the experience, whether his degree is equivalent to a degree from the United States. Fantastic. So get in touch with the credential evaluator, especially when your client has been educated in a foreign country. The role of the credential evaluator is very important here. Foreign degree, credential evaluation, write that down. Now you make sure, read the last line. Therefore, I hereby conclude that the education of John is equal to a bachelor's degree from the United States. Fantastic. You met the first prong of the test. Now, employer requirements for an H1B. Very, very important. You have this great employer. You are in information technology. Let's call that employers the JKL consulting company. They sponsor people. And you met him, you're a systems analyst. Great. If you are a systems analyst, and if you're directly working for that company, excellent for you. Now look at what I'm seeing over here. There is a nexus. Remember the word nexus, N-E-X-U-S. These are words which you're going to get from Naresh Gehi. You may not find this in any of the books. This is the beauty of attending these sessions. Nexus between the job and the employer. Now, you have a degree in IT and it's an IT company. Excellent, there is a direct nexus. So you pass that part of the test. Employer interview happens. And if you're in the US, good news for you is that the employer is great, well and dandy, everything happened. But now the employer says, you know what? I'm a small company, I have 4 people working. All right, but I'm not going to pay you a lot of money. And I'm just going to pay you $40,000 as a systems analyst, and you're living in New York. You are very excited. You don't have a job offer. What are you going to do? Take the job offer? The answer is no. If you're going to work for a full-time position on an H1B, the answer is no. Because the employer should first be doing the prevailing wages. So we are going to talk about prevailing wages. And Sonu, whenever you're ready, let me know so you can jump in later. So give me.
I'm ready actually, if I may jump in.
Excellent. So let me just finish this slide. And I'm going to ask you the basic questions so we can start the training sessions with lawyers.
Sure.
And so now the thing is that we got this, the employer has to do the prevailing wages. And for that, he has to apply for prevailing wages. And my recommendation to people is when you're doing the prevailing wages, get it done from the US government, because those wages are very, very important. And if you have the prevailing wages from the Department of Labor, the good thing for you is that you will not go wrong anywhere in the process. And Sonu, why don't you, because since I'm doing all the talking, can you jump in and let them know how to get the prevailing wages, please?
So in H1B context, nobody gets the prevailing wages. Most clients, they don't get the prevailing wages from the Department of Labor, although they have the option to. But
Yes.
most people rely on the Department of Labor's wage data center, which
Yes.
means they don't have to apply to get the prevailing wages. They just go to that website and decide and look for themselves what the prevailing wages are, and then they know that they have to pay at least at that level.
So as you heard from Sonu, and how do you like this website, Sonu? ows.doleta.gov.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. So would that be a good site for people to follow?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so the website for that is ows.doleta.gov. That gives you a fair idea of what the prevailing wages are. And also, you can get an alternative wage survey. Do you agree, Sonu, on that? So there are companies
Yes,
that give you a wage survey and they back you up completely. Now, what you did is that instead of the 40,000 salary, you told the employer that if you want me to work, the minimum salary for you to sponsor me for the H1B occupation is 55 or 60,000. The employer under the law has to pay you that money. So now, before you apply for the H1B, few considerations of how the process begins. If you're a new company or if you're a new lawyer, you have to know the USCIS website. And from there, you need to basically make sure that your client, gets creates an account over there in order to be kind of picked up in the lottery system. And I believe Sonu is going to do some talking about how to kind of basically register for the lottery.
So, okay, so about the lottery, you have to register yourself on the USCIS website. And then if the employer is using an attorney also, then the attorney as well as the employer, they both have to create an account.
And
how the process?
And would that be at MyUSCIS to submit registrations you're talking about?
Yes, Mr. Gehi. So when you go to the website, it gives you the option. Are you the employer? Are you the attorney? If you are the attorney, just check attorney and move forward. If you're the employer, check employer, move forward. Different kind of questions for them.
Okay, for the sake of new lawyers and paralegals who are attending this today, Sonu, so once if exactly a lawyer creates an account, can that account be used by the lawyer for other clients also, or does he have to create separate accounts for every client?
No, so the attorneys, they create only one account, and within that account, it can be used for multiple clients.
See, so this is also meant because this is an ABC program, thanks to Mylegalsoftware that, they're teaching us of making sure that people are learning all this. So the best thing on Mylegalsoftware is that you can grow your practice, as you can see. During these processes, there'll be someone who will be helping you to grow your practice. And it's not very expensive. And actually, the licensing fee is even cheaper than other softwares, most other softwares you may find in the market. So now what happens is that you created that account over there and you started registering. And there is a period for registration, Sonu. And actually, to help you, I also have the dates. Do you want me to read it or do you know the dates?
It generally happens like last week.
All right, so let me read it for you. So we are over-prepared this time rather than being under-prepared. That's why people love these sessions that are gotten by Mylegalsoftware. And we are teaching you ABCDs, which you may not find on other platforms. February 22nd, petitioners and registrants can begin creating H1B registrant accounts at noon Eastern. So write down the date, February 22. March 1, H1B registration period opens at noon Eastern. Nice. March 18, H1B registration period closes. So the window is between March 1st and March 18. And I have a joke to share, Sonu. Do you know that there are churches and temples across the world where people are donating money to make sure that sons and daughters get selected for the visa process? It's so funny. Please don't do that, folks. Please don't do that. That is absolutely ridiculous. It seems that, if someone does that and tomorrow if the son gets selected, so it seems that the daughter's family will be doubling the money on the son and giving them double the money because the son is going to the US. This is so ridiculous. And I'm sure people are also enjoying these jokes as we are going along. So March 1, H1B registration period opens. March 18th, H1B registration period closes. 31st date by which USCIS intends to notify selected registrants. Wow. At this time, you'll be either hugging your priest or you're going to basically slap your priest. So if he lied to you, tell him to give you the money back. And by mistake, if you're actually there, the priest will start dancing and he's going to tell you, didn't I tell you you'll be selected? Didn't I tell you? So folks who are looking at this, I'm sure are going to have a great laugh today. April 1st, the earliest date the 2023 H1B cap subject petition may be filed. If you're subject to do the H1B cap, that's the earliest date. So that exactly, remember April 1st, so that you're not fooled by the 1st of April. Make sure that you're ready and don't miss the date and keep those things ready. So these are dates also which we are giving you today. I'm sure that should make you happy. So now you registered for the lottery. Yay, yippee, yippee, yay, yippee, yay. Got selected, Sonu. Can you tell them the importance of the LCA and the internal posting notice?
So DOL regulation requires that the employer post that they are going to hire an H1B candidate, and then this has to be posted at the place of employment. It has to be posted for 10 business days, and it has to be posted as a conspicuous place in the place of employment. So it's very, very important for them.
See, now, same thing which I said, please don't post it in the bathroom.
Yes.
Post it in 2 conspicuous places. 2 internal posting notices should be posted at appropriate places. Don't post it in exactly, at the cafeteria inside. Make sure that it's outside, wherein people can actually see it. You're going to be fined by the government if you do that. That is very, very important. Now, after you posted that, remember what Sonu said, 10 business days. Yes, there are a lot of similarities in what we mentioned in the past, and we are talking about this is critically important for everybody to know that it should be 10 business days. And after you posted for 10 business days, you're good to go. Now, Sonu, the critical thing is that, you're ready with this. You posted it for 10 business days. Now comes the LCA. LCA, don't get confused. They may sound similar, but they mean 2 different things. LCA means Labor Condition Application, ETA 9035. ETA 9035. So can you talk a little bit, Sonu, about the filing of the LCA electronically and how long does it take to get approved? And what are the key considerations when you file the LCA?
Okay. So the LCA is filed at the website called flag.dol.gov. That's a website where you file the LCA. And in the LCA,
Sonu, can you repeat that for people? Because people will be asking us on and off. So can you spell it out? Flag dot.
It's FLAG flag.dol.gov.
So FLAG dot
DOL
dot gov. Flag dot dol dot gov.
Yeah.
So remember, yes. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Yeah. So this is very important that you file it over there, and after that, the government takes approximately 7 to 10 days. Sonu, what do you think?
Within 7 days, they certify the LCA.
Very good. So in 7 days, you got your certificate. Yay! Great, fantastic, done. Now comes the time about the filing of the H1B petition. Now, Sonu and I are going to talk a lot about it, how to get your first H1B approved. So now we are taking this example of a software engineer, like a systems analyst, or filing for a software company, or because Gehi and Associates, that's our law firm, gehilaw.com, does a lot of H1Bs for foreign nationals and for IT companies. We do that on a regular basis. So the biggest thing what I do is I'm very particular because there are many reasons companies have to be careful when you file your H1B, because I-9 compliance is important, besides that, you also need to make sure that you're giving the prevailing wages, but at the same time, you need to also make sure that you have all the documents in order. And that's a very important job that lawyers play. And we need to make sure that the specialty occupation is taken care of, the job offer is bona fide, and also the internal notes, the postings are done for the notices properly. Plus, at the same time, we also need to make sure that the foreign national does qualify, which is very important. Wherein exactly when the paperwork is correct, credential evaluations are correct, the company sponsors you, then you are in good shape to begin with. And the forms, Sonu, can you tell them what forms are needed? So I'm going to chip in after you talk. The forms needed.
The USCIS form is called Form I-129.
I-129H.
Yeah, so I-129, after that form, there are several kind of supplements attached to it. But you only do the H supplement. There are several supplements like L, O, for different kind of visas. But for H1B, you only attach the H supplement.
H supplement. Now, then after that, you have to, also give the fraud prevention fee, and you'll also have to pay fees under the American Competitiveness Act of, Act, and then you need to also basically make sure that you go for the premium processing fee, which is the 907 form. Am I correct on that, Sonu?
Yes, Mr. Gehi. And about the fee, so the basic fees is $460. Plus, $460. Plus, if you are employing more than 25 employees, you add ACWIF fee, $1,500.
Right.
If it is less than 25, it's $750.
Right.
Plus, the fraud fees is $500 for all the employees.
Right. So look at it. So,
yeah. And for the premium processing fees is $2,500.
$2,500. Now, it used to be $1,225 before, right?
It used to be $1,440. They increased it to $2,500.
Okay, so from it's doubled, literally doubled, $2,500. So sponsoring someone from an H1B means spending a lot of money. That's rule number one. Most companies have become reluctant to do that because of the cost of paying. Plus, sometimes what I've seen is American labor may be cheaper than hiring a foreign national. So, it has its pluses and minuses of anything you do. In the IT industry, we can understand, but in other industries, it's always a big problem. That's why, even if you look at, the statistics, 90% or 95% of 97% of these visas are taken over by IT people because there's a paucity of labor. Now, therefore, we're also going to talk about law firm marketing next time. We're going to talk about law office technology and law firm marketing next time in our next session, which is going to be next week. Very important. Now, Sonu, over here, we got the H1B basics in order. And the thing is now, what I do is we have this great petition in front of me. When do lawyers get an RFE? Number one, what are the key factors that we have to look at when you file the petition? What should new lawyers do? I think, My Legal Software, firstly, thank you to all our listeners over here. A lot of people have been kind of joining My Legal Software in a couple of weeks. That 4 or 5 very good people joining from these sessions, and they've been very happy because they started growing the practice, and they call us, for the mentorship and everything. And also, that we have Jody Felice, who, especially for New Yorkers, who was actually on the, who was serving as counsel to he worked with the grievance committee, if I remember. And then you have Sonu Lal, in the employment section. And of course, you have Naresh Gehi. And next week, you're going to have Larry Rosenthal, and the next 2 weeks coming in. So we have a team of lawyers who can help you in different areas of the law. So that's the beauty of My Legal Software. And that's why lawyers are taking demos. And I would strongly recommend you to kind of, if you want to have demos, it's easy for Anjali. Can you talk about it a bit so before we go to the next point and talk about My Legal Software, because I need a small break so you can do the talking for 2 minutes. Sonu and I need a small break. Please talk.
Yes, sir. Also, the questions have started coming in, so maybe you can have a look at the questions. And other than that, so thank you so much for mentioning the mentorship point here. Because first of all, welcome to all our viewers and welcome Mr. Lal. And I would like to take this opportunity to mention all of our viewers that along with the MYLS, we also provide free mentorship to all the lawyers. So for an example, if you are a new lawyer, or even if you're a seasoned lawyer and you are stuck somewhere in between of the case, you can always drop us an email and we can get back to you with a possible solution or a workaround for your problem. And in the attorney panel, like Mr. Gehi mentioned, we have a good attorney panel who are really high experienced, and we try to help you the best we can. And other than that, like sir, we were talking about a lot about forms and stuff. So I would like to mention here that My Legal Software actually has automated and auto populating smart forms. We also have a huge library of all the USCIS forms that any lawyer related to immigration can use them. And we also provide calendars, deadlines, ticketing, notifications, and reminders so that you don't miss out on dates, because like we were discussing the other day that some of the clients miss out on dates because the lawyers they forget the court dates or the hearing dates, and that actually results in the delay of the client's immigration processes.
Also,
Yeah.
two other things which I like is the credit card processing, especially that's also included in the software. And the good thing is that in New York, you're allowed to pass on the fee to the client. So what happens, literally turns out that the software usage may be free for you. This is what I like about My Legal Software. That's one thing. And other than that, the forms are amazing for H1Bs and everything. And Sonu would agree with me on that, on that part of it. And
100%
companies
agree.
can, yes, I mean, companies can use My Legal Software. IT companies can use it. And, there's a tremendous demand for it. And people are signing up. And thank you for the fabulous job. And above all, there's one other thing, Sonu, what I like about My Legal Software that helps me, because we do use it because we are a general practice law firm. So there are two products. One is the GP software, which is an advanced version for lawyers who do other things or who don't practice immigration. So they also have the hourly billing feature included, which is kind of, because when I go outside, I'm spending a lot of money only for the hourly billing feature. Yeah, it is included. So in a sense, you're getting a lot more for cheap than what you go outside and get it. So these are things. Sonu, what would you like to see about My Legal Software before we go to the next point?
I would just point out one feature of My Legal Software. I've used several software. Those do only immigration forms. What is distinguishable about My Legal Software is ability to make notes where you can see what's happening on the case. Meaning you can track the case in like real time, which I have not seen on other immigration software.
See, so the ability to have the notes right there is that suppose if you have a problem from your client, if you have a bad client, and if he's threatening you to report you, so those case notes can be very handy. It can protect your license, and you can be very good shape. So plus also the other thing which I like is the hand holding with the company gives, that there's always someone available, especially to people who are members of MyLs who kind of subscribe to the software. There's kind of that membership that always helps a lot, really. So that's something very important. So let's get going, unless and until Anjali, if you want to say something, or we'd like to move ahead with everything which we are talking about.
So thank you, Mr. Lal and Mr. Gehi, for the kind words for MyLs. So our team is trying to put together a 360-degree solution for all the lawyers in all the practice areas that they are in. And we have a lot of integrations also. So we come across a lot of people come across problems such as I don't know how, if I'm using the current software, how do I use that and how do I use this?
So training is also provided to you guys.
Yes, of course. Data migration is provided, training is provided, and if there is any other software you want to integrate with, so we even integrate with all the possible softwares, of course, given the fact that API should support and there should be an IT support from the other end.
Fantastic.
So that's how we help. We try to help a lot of lawyers, and we have grown tremendously over the past couple of weeks. And thank you everyone for having a faith at My Legal Software.
Great.
And
yeah. Okay, so now let's get back to work. This is great. And if you all want anything else, just make sure that you get in touch with Anjali at info@mylegalsoftware.com or mylegalsoftware.com, or call her 212-390-9493. Can you schedule a demo at any time with her? She's very good with demos, and we'll take it further. So now, Sonu, we are here at a point that we have the petition in our hand. So what I generally do and what we generally do will combine our knowledge and experience and will explain to people. First thing, I make sure that the LCA is approved, because if you file it without the LCA, I would consider that to be a joke. So please do not file it before with the LCA. You do not need to include the notice of internal posting. Some people include that, which I would not recommend. Sonu, do you agree or no?
Yes, Mr. Gehi, I agree.
So these are like lawyers' mistakes and paralegal mistakes that they commit. Third thing is that when you are dealing with a foreign national, please remember the word credential evaluation. Otherwise, immigration is going to ask you, you're going to waste your time. Number 3, agree or disagree, Sonu?
Agree, Mr. Gehi.
Next one is make sure that it qualifies as a specialty occupation. What is the definition of a specialty occupation, Sonu?
Mr. Gehi, in a very simple terms, the job that you are hiring the foreign national for should require at least a bachelor's degree in a specific specialty.
Very good.
That's the gist of it.
All right. So means that exactly that the occupation should require a minimum attainment of a bachelor's degree from the United States of America. The word USA is very important because you're going to work in the USA. So your degree should be equal to a degree from the USA. So if your government has given you a degree, but if the US degree has a higher requirement for education, unfortunately, you are in troubled waters because your H1B may be denied unless and until if you follow the 3-year is equal to 1-year formula, which I had mentioned earlier. Very important. Second important thing, which I'm seeing a lot, Sonu, when people are filing, is about this bona fide job offer. Can you talk a little about what is this bona fide job offer and why are employers getting into trouble?
I mean, the immigration requires that the job offer should be a legitimate job offer. Few consulting companies, they file H1B without even having an office. They just have home office, and then they're filing H1B. So how do you justify that you are a legitimate employer without having a proper office?
Right. So look what Sonu said is that, you need to make sure that, in our law firm at Gehi and Associates at gehilaw.com, we don't even take up employers like this because we don't want to spoil the employer's life or the employee's life. So we do a lot of H1Bs, but we make sure that we are very particular about the quality of work we perform. And, so I make sure that, we cross all the I's and the T's. Therefore, it's important for lawyers to make sure that you follow high standards. If you're a paralegal, you will need support if you want to be great in what you do. And if you need good mentorship, make sure you work with someone who knows what he's talking to you about. Make sure that you're dealing with a walking book. Deal with an encyclopedia who knows what he's talking about. Others don't file H1B because you may commit malpractice, or if the H1B gets denied because of the attorney's fault or the paralegal's fault, you're looking at a problem. So be very careful about that. Now, bona fide job offer, what I've seen is, Sonu, sometimes immigration also goes to people's offices to check whether actually the employer is bona fide, otherwise they get fined. And at times, when people have tried to kind of, circumvent the system, they've gotten into troubled waters. What would you like to say about that?
Yes, these are called FDNS side inspections. After you file H1B, either before the H1B is being approved or even after it is approved, the immigration officers, they come, they visit, they meet with the employer, they meet with the employee. And if you have filed the H1B without even having an office, you and the employer are being in trouble.
See, such a great thing that you're looking at. And another thing is that I always like to be careful about is I always make sure there's a nexus between the employer and the employee's job performance. So take an example that, I'd mentioned this example before. there is a barber shop over here, a barber shop, and the barber shop needs to sponsor anyone who's an engineer. And this engineer had actually, he used to be a barber in his home country when he was young. Later on, he became an engineer. But after he came to the US on a B1, B2 visa, he couldn't find a job over here as a barber or as an engineer. So can the barber shop sponsor him for an H1B? The answer is no. Even if he has the qualifications of a barber, because the job of the barber does not require a bachelor's degree in the US. Therefore, the H1B will be denied. But you're telling immigration, hey, my client is a damn engineer. He went to barber school in Russia. And this is a fantastic barber shop. They are paying him the salary. What is the problem? You are talking to me, Mr. Gehi, about the bachelor's degree over here. My client has a bachelor's degree. Employer wants someone with a bachelor's degree working for him. This guy used to be a barber in his home country when he was a student. What is the problem? The problem is, does the job of a barber require a bachelor's degree? Now, most lawyers might be thinking, how do I figure this out? Food for thought. So there are books in immigration that you have to know. This is where you need help. And My Legal Software can help you with that help if needed. But this is where your skill comes in, to make sure that when you file your first H1B, or when you are about to commit that mistake, catch it right now. Because once, if you are submitting your I-139H petition with your premium processing fee, with the fraud detection fee, plus with the American Competitive Act fee, there's no refund for those fees. Besides that, your client may wind up in troubled waters and you may be in trouble. So be very careful when you're filing a H1B. And remember, only when you're seasoned, file an H1B. Because you may get 1 or 2 H1Bs approved, but on the third H1B, immigration may catch up with you and say there's something wrong. The law is not being followed properly. The paperwork is okay, but someone has typed it, change the occupation. Now, there are softwares in the market. When you change the title, you put everything up, things will be fine. Never do that, folks. Never do that. Lawyers can lose licenses if they don't know what they're doing. As a paralegal, you'll be doing injustice to your client. Be very careful when you're filing. And MyLs is also being used by a lot of corporates. Like they've seen it and they've been looking at it. So if you're a corporate, you can look at it and then decide whether you want to use it. So make sure that you have that person at the back always looking at it. Now, in one case, Sonu, what happened, if I remember, is an immigration investigator came, and it seemed the boss was not in the IT company. And it seemed that the paralegal started talking and talking and talking. The more she spoke, the bigger the fine went out against the company. Can you talk about fines and everything, especially when exactly, immigration perceives there to be some kind of, culpability on part of the employer?
So generally, fines works like this. If the employee is not being paid according to the LCA, then the Department of Labor can force you to pay back wages. That's one part of the fines. Other part of the fines is that if you are not complying with all the regulations, then the fines can go up to like double or triple the amount of the salary that you have listed on there.
That's the Department of Labor we are talking about, folks.
Yes.
Look at the powers of the State Department of Labor. Now, another thing is that, for people who are in the ABC class and people who are a bit advanced, let's put it this way, that now my company is located in New Jersey, and I'm an IT company. And the employee is working in California for me remotely. Can you tell us where the LCA should be filed? And where should we be doing the prevailing wages? And how to do the prevailing wages? I know the answer, but I prefer that you talk about it.
Okay. So if the employer is in New Jersey, a layman would assume that you should be looking at the prevailing wages at the New Jersey, but it doesn't work like that.
Right.
The prevailing wages should be where the person, the employee, will be working.
The beneficiary.
Yeah.
Right.
So you have to look at the prevailing wages in California.
Right.
Practically, California prevailing wages are much
And
higher.
where do you put up the LCA and the internal posting notices?
Oh,
That's very important. This is where people get fined.
Yeah, where the initially I said at the place of employment, which means that where the beneficiary will be working.
Right.
So if he's working at the client side in California, so the notice of posting should be posted in California, not in New Jersey.
Right. So look at the importance what we bring to the table. We are telling you about the ABCs, the common mistakes which are conducted. Now, what Sonu said is very correct, is that it's known as the area of intended employment. If you want me to use the exact legal terms, it has to be posted in the area of intended employment. And this is one thing which a lot of lawyers forget. A lot of kind of new lawyers or people who are not good at what they do, they forget. Paralegals forget it, and the company gets fined. Serious fines and penalties, folks. Now you make sure that you're done. Now you submitted your H1B, and you have, and what do you include? Your basically, of course, information about the company, the name of the employer, then after that the job title and the EIN number of the company, current number of employees, the gross income of the company, the net income of the company, the job title, and exactly the job duties, and the year the company was established. That's the I-129 form. Now, when you are filing the actual petition, which means exactly the 3-page or the 4-page document, that is very important. Immigration loves to read that very carefully. Make sure that you do a fantastic job. Make sure that you write about the petitioner in detail. Second thing is write about the beneficiary, write about the job duties, write about the need for that particular employee. And then also there is one thing which people forget, is that also put that in the petition, that if the employee is asked to leave the company, he will be provided a one-way ticket to his home country. And this is one thing, Sonu, which I've seen that people forget. This is what you will get with MyLegalSoftware, those little tips that people may forget. Can you talk about that one-way ticket requirement?
So the regulations require that if you are hiring an H1B employee, and after he's on H1B and you let him go, which means you fire him, you are obligated to pay airfare for his return ticket to his home country. If you don't, you are in big trouble.
Yes, and I don't know many people who are actually doing it, and this is a concern. And they just tell them that, hey, listen, one-way ticket, bye-bye, good luck. So make sure that the law is carefully followed. And now, if you're changing the status of your employee in the US, well and good and dandy. If the employee is going back, be careful. And of course, we are going to have a lot of advanced session on H1Bs with Sonu Lal. And we have a few minutes. And if you all want to file your first H1B or want to get started with your H1B business, if you're starting an immigration practice, if you're starting a general practice, and you can call MyLegalSoftware, and a lot of new lawyers who are starting practices, they need the hand-holding. We are doing a lot of it for them. It's real simple. You just have to kind of call that number or email them, and we'll be happy to kind of basically make sure that MyLegalSoftware helps you out. This program is the advice provided as general in nature from Sonu Lal and me, does not basically imply an attorney-client relationship under any sort, this is the information is generic, and it's only meant for the program, and it's not meant to apply to any specific facts, circumstances, unless and until basically an agreement is reached between us and the person who's the viewer of the show. So the disclaimers change a little bit because we've got to say people who are viewing the show. So being a trial lawyer, I make sure that I'm very particular the way I talk. And folks, if you want to become good in immigration, try Immigration Speed. If you are a general practice law firm, try this because there are a lot of benefits, like the hourly billing feature, the custom forms for immigration lawyers. But for general practice lawyers, they have some amazing, amazing things like the audit reports, which are just kind of mind-blowing, the case notes and everything. They're really good. And even Sonu loves it. And a lot of lawyers are actually scheduling demos. And there are some special deal for new lawyers and small law firms, as always. So folks, I hope you all enjoyed it. Now let's take some questions. And until 3:55, we'll take some questions, then the wind-up round. And next week, we are going to talk about law office technology, especially, and not only about law office technology, and we are going to actually conduct a session wherein for a few minutes, even Sonu, he's been so kind, he may join in, he may talk about for 15 minutes, he'll be there, and some other lawyers will be there. And even federal lawyers are going to be here. Federal lawyers are going to be here talking to you about ECF filings. We're going to talk about the use of PACER. Then we're going to talk about ECAS. We're going to talk about all the different court-related kind of sites which people are nervous about when they want to file the federal case. See, we have everything for everybody. And that part of the session will be kind of, closely kind of be monitored from the GP section, from the general practice. GP software will be conducting the next one. This was done by Immigration Speed, but the next one is from GP. GP Speed will be sponsoring that part of it from MyLs. General Practice Speed for general practitioners, how to file your federal cases and everything through this thing. That'll be next week. So let's take a few questions. Who is eligible for an H1B? Minimum attainment of a bachelor's degree from the United States or its equivalent. And the second thing is a bona fide job offer from an employer who is in need of the service of the employee. And the company should be kind of a stable company, should be an actual company, and that does proper business in the United States of America. How difficult is to get an H1B visa? Depending upon the facts and circumstances, you definitely need seasoned lawyers. And if you have an H1B, you can call gehilaw.com if you're a viewer, and we can assist you with that process. Sonu, the next one is for you. What is the difference between an H1 and H1B visa?
Difference between H1 and H1B visa? Okay, yeah, it's kind of a different. So H1B, you file with the USCIS. Once they approve it, to enter the US, you have to apply for a visa, which you apply in your home country at the embassy or US consulate. That's the kind of difference.
So in an H1, you applied in the foreign country?
No, you can be in the foreign country, but your employer has to be US based, and he applies for US with the USCIS. Your H1B petition is filed. Once that is approved, how do you enter? To enter, you have to apply for the H1B visa at the US embassy. So it's kind of a
submitting. You're saying that when you're submitting applications an H1B visa, but when you're entering the country, it's an H1B visa.
Yes, kind of.
All right, kind of.
First is H1B petition.
Let me talk to you about something else. How about H1 for models? That's not an H1B visa for models. It's known as an H1 visa, correct?
Yeah, it's H1B1. Yes, H1B1.
H1B1 is for models. So remember, those little things in immigration matter a lot. H1B1s are meant for models. And if anyone is a model, they need to consider the H1B1 visa, not the H1B. So see those minor distinctions, they go a long way. What does credential evaluation means? Now, Sonu, why don't you take that?
For sure. So credential evaluation means the H1B regulation requires that the beneficiary should have an equivalent of a US bachelor's degree. So if somebody has a foreign degree, let's say from Australia, then it's not equivalent to a US bachelor's degree, right? In that case, there are companies which provides you an evaluation. The evaluation is an 8 or maybe 15-page kind of evaluation, which says that the beneficiary's degree from Australia, based on the credits, is equivalent to a US bachelor's degree. That's what it means.
Correct. That is correct. And what is a specialty occupation? We already mentioned that. A specialty occupation is an occupation that requires the minimum attainment of a bachelor's degree. So that is a specialty occupation. So folks, if you want to learn the H1B process, if you want to become a rock star in immigration, if you want to do well in immigration, join the MyLs team, and there's a lot of help available there. And besides that, let's talk a little bit about consular processing in H1Bs. That's going to be our last 2 or 3 minutes. Now, there's another thing. What premium wages. How do you obtain a favorable, prevailing wages? Prevailing wages means exactly the minimum wage that you need to pay an H1B employee. So the whole idea for getting prevailing wages is to make sure that you are not undercutting or you're not underpaying employees, and you're paying them in accordance with the needs of the US market, which means you have to pay what a US worker would be paid or a little more than that. You cannot pay them less than what a US pay worker is supposed to be paid if he's working in the United States of America. How can a law firm start an H1B practice, especially if they are new lawyers who want to add it to the practice? Get in touch with MyLegalsoftware. I'll be happy to be a mentor, or even if it is in any area of immigration law, if you're starting your own practice, even if it's a general practice, we can help you with research. We may not be able to give legal advice if you're not admitted in your state, but we are allowed to give you legal research and you can take it further from there. So all those facilities are available. And also if you're short of paralegals, or if you want to get receptionists, they're available through the very good virtual people working there who can save your cost and help you to start a practice. I think MyLegalsoftware is very good for lawyers who are brand new, want to start a practice, and people who are computer consulting companies who do not have lawyers on board, because this is what they need sometimes. Please help my assistant do that. It's good for them. And for people who do a lot of H1Bs and a lot of LCAs, because they hire paralegals, of course, they want to save costs, but on the back, if they need legal help, this program can be very helpful for them. And even if you're a general practice lawyer, you need to look at GP Speed. Now, next week, we are going to be talking from the GP Speed platform for general practice lawyers, and that'll also cover, electronic filing for divorce attorneys and other attorneys in New York State Court. We are going to have a session about, how to file cases in federal court. That's the next thing. Then we're going to talk about law office technology, what softwares are. There'll be a demo again by Anjali about some of the features of MyLegalsoftware, of how they're included in these platforms. We're going to talk about the hourly billing features and how to kind of bill your clients. You'll get an actual demo next week of MyLegalsoftware, about some of the important things by lawyers like MyLegalsoftware. So Sonu, some of your closing remarks before we leave.
So generally, when you are a kind of practice tip for paralegals, if you are submitting H1B petition, make sure you have included the check. And even sometimes I've seen paralegal missing out the date on the check or sign on the check. If you do that, what happens is immigration send back the petition back to you.
And the sad thing is that you can lose the lottery.
Yeah.
And you lost the lottery and your client is upset.
Yes.
See, these factors are very important. This is where help comes in. So you may wonder that I want to do my H1B. Well and good and dandy. In an H1B visa, they look at technicalities and they deny a petition. Technicalities is the best reason how they deny it. And you lost the lottery and the poor guy is upset at you and tell you, I'm never going to see your face again. Be careful. Also, Sonu, there's one other practice that you adopt, because we've been doing this since a while. A different set of eyes should always look at an H1B. Do you agree or no?
Totally agree, Mr. Gehi. Totally agree.
So what happens is that if you're going to look at the petition, you can go wrong. You need to make sure a separate set of eyes looks at it.
Yes.
And, and you take it from there. And I don't want to get into advanced. There's another thing which we are going to discuss for seasoned lawyers next time, is how to take an H1B to federal court. How do you like that, Sonu?
Yes, Mr. Gehi. Very great idea.
Okay, so but that's going to be an advanced session, and I'll be joining you with that. And we want people to be trained on how to take H1Bs to federal court. And I want IT companies to join that session. I want seasoned lawyers to come in and join. And this is why I come in. And I'll be talking about, since I've done other federal cases, that's going to be meant for seasoned lawyers and people who are very high up, who want to kind of basically take those cases. IT companies want to take those important cases to federal court. And those things are important. I'll tell you why. Sometimes you may need an injunction, especially when, the person is falling out of status. That's one consideration. Secondly, it's an improper denial of an H1B visa. Do you know that you can also bypass the AAO? Did you know that, Sonu?
Yes, Mr. Gehi. Yeah, you can directly go to the federal court.
You can directly go, but there's a case law on that. We're going to discuss about the case law, how to bypass it and work out with the government to get an H1B approved. That's for advanced sessions. But for next week, remember next week, what's the date next week, Anjali?
Sir, it's the 20th. Next webinar we'll have on the 20th.
So it's going to be on the 20th, and it's going to be
same time.
all
sir.
the law office technology you need to know to file your actions in court. We're going to talk about ECF, electronic case filing. Sonu, on the Department of Labor, is it the Doleta side? Which one is it?
For prevailing wages, it's FLC Wage Data Center. That's
We'll
for
be talking
prevailing
the
wages.
Wage Data Center. Then for
For LCA, it's flag.dol.
so we're going to go through flag.com with you. We'll try to make sure that we come up with slides or something, or we'll show you something or the other of how to basically visit the flag site. And Sonu will be giving one short email to them what sites. Priyanjali will be displaying them, and Anjali will be displaying them. Ravi, thank you so much. Priyanjali, so much. All of you for being here today and hosting this great segment. Thank you to Mylegalsoftware for hosting such great shows. I hope you all enjoyed it. And, you may call them at your number. You have the last 5 minutes, Anjali, before we leave. And then we'll be joining people next week on how to actually do a filing. This is going to be great with Sonu and Naresh. And a few other lawyers are going to join, and it's going to be a lot of fun next week. And the week after that, you all should put your name as speakers, folks. And I'm telling you, tremendous benefits. You're getting free marketing because at the end of the day, all these shows on Facebook, many people are watching you talking over here. You can even generate clients. This is going to be fantastic for people who want to become speakers. So, Anjali, your last few words before you leave. Thank you, Sonu, for your time. And if you have to leave, you may leave. But you've been fantastic. And Sonu, you're just commendable. Your knowledge is just impressive. We are very proud of you to be a part of, joining us.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It means a lot. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Lal.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So Anjali, yes, about next show and what you want to say.
It's just a small notice to all the viewers who are with us. So if you want to be our guest speaker, you can always drop us your resume at anjali@mylegalsoftware.com, or you can send it across at legalhelp@mylegalsoftware.com. And we'll be having a close look at your resume. And if you are a good experienced lawyer in any of the field that is you're good at, we can invite you to be our next guest speaker, and it comes with a lot of benefits, and you will be given an appreciation certificate, and you will be on our website. You would also be given free marketing on our social media platforms and across, including YouTube and everywhere. And of course, you will gather a lot of audience. People would want to see what is your experience.
So what is happening here, you also, especially if you want to get a good social media presence, MyLs can help you. If you're a member, then they can help you. That's what she's saying. Over here, you can get your Facebook presence and all. And it's very reasonable, folks. Don't be scared about the pricing. I think they're very good pricing offers. So next week, what we'll do is we'll be back again. And the topic is law office technology, or how to file documents, ECF and PACER. Then we'll also be talking about ECAS. We'll be talking about other technologies. And also, how MyLs is useful. You'll actually see some bits and pieces of MyLs.
Yes, sir. So we'll be talking in detail about the features of MyLs that we have been talking in brief up until now. So we'll be talking about them a little bit in detail.
So it's time for the big show. That's what you're trying to say? Time to
yes, because
go and blast, right?
We've been getting so many requests from people that they would want to see a dashboard of how it looks like, because we normally say that it's an inclusive dashboard and it is for it covers all your responsibilities and stuff like that. So I think it's time people can have a look at the dashboard, because it's easier for them that way to take a demo. So that it'll be like they can connect with the software, so they know what they're exactly going to look at. So that's why we have planned the next session with you and with a couple of other attorneys. And thank you so much, sir, for your knowledgeful session today. Oh, I hope all.
And I'm very happy to see that lawyers have been contacting you, and happy to see that you're getting a lot of calls and you're getting people scheduled for the demos. So that's good.
Yes.
So the number is 212-390-9493 for people who want to schedule demos. Thank you all.
Yes. Thank you, sir. Thank you, everybody.
Next week, don't forget next week the date and the time. And law office technology. Thank you all.
So next week, Thursday, 3 to 4 p.m. EST, same time, and more people. So thank you everybody for joining the webinar today, and thank you, Mr. Gehi, and everyone for your time.
Thank
So
you.
see you next week.